Hi and welcome to today's episode in practicing English. So in today's episode, I'm not going to speak a random topics, but instead I just want to read something in English. Since I don't have any English book, so I'm going to use my school book. It's called Forward, and I'm gonna read Rita's Bad Day. I just going to read it just to improve my accent, not because sometimes doing a when you're speaking, it's kind of hard because it requires your brain to think about the new or it requires your brain to create such a good sentence, and it takes time, so it will ruin my practice in producing better accent. So I'm just going to read this random text on this book. So it's called Rita's Bad Day. I've been looking for a new job for a while, as I really hate my present one. I didn't get on very well with my boss, and I found the job really boring. So it was definitely time for a change. I had seen an advert in the local paper for a job that sounded absolutely perfect for me. I hate to have it. I spent a long time on my CV and wrote a really convincing covering letter. You can guess what happened later. On a day of the interview, I overslept. I must have forgotten to set my alarm the night before. I jumped out of bed, quickly put some clothes, and rushed out the door, but I was never going to make it in time. If only I'd set my alarm, I would have been on time. I would normally take a bus, but I was running late. I decided the tube might be quicker. I ran down the escalators and jumped onto the train just as the doors were closing. I breathed a sigh of relief. I might just make it after all. After a couple of minutes, I noticed that other people on the train were looking at me strangely. Suddenly, I had a dreadful feeling. I looked down at my feet. I still had my slippers on. Must have been in such a rush to leave the house that I forgot to put my smart black shoes on. This was a disaster. What would the interview think of me? I still really wanted to I still really wanted the job, so I decided to carry on. I got off the train and rushed outside. It had started to rain and I had forgotten my umbrella. It was only a short walk to my destination, but I decided to take a taxi so I wouldn't get too wet. I stood at the edge of the road waiting for a taxi when a huge truck drove past. I had been standing right next to a big puddle, and I was now completely covered in dirty water. I couldn't go to the interview looking like this. I decided to turn back and go home. Feeling very upset, I crossed the road to the tube station. I obviously wasn't looking because the next thing I knew, I was waking up in a hospital bed with lots of cuts and bruises and a broken leg. I wish I'd never got out of a bed that morning. So that's it. That was a random stories from this book called Forward. This is my school book, by the way. Titled Rita's Bad Day. So that's it. Anyway, I apologize because the last week or the past 2 weeks I didn't make any content about talking in English. So yeah, I am apologize because a lot of things happened. So yeah, they are here. So that's it. Bye.